Today we're going to deal with the mitzvah and the roots of B'Shleach Manas. What is the reason? And depending on the reason, we'll have differences between the two reasons. Different topic, a new topic, just improvise.
Our novices, again, we have Rabbi Kuttner over in the corner here, in the Halacha class, Birko Shagiado. We have Rabbi Bergman over here, the pre-Pesach class on freedom and responsibility, and Rabbi Goldwasser over here, if not now, when? So that's right? Right?
Yes.
Let's begin.
Okay.
Now.
We'll bring some chairs. Just if you can pull up a few chairs. So what is the reason? Why do we give B'Shleach Manas? What's the reason behind the whole mitzvah, B'Shleach Manas? Right? Jason, what do you say?
Giving gifts to our neighbors.
Right. You have to give gifts. What type of gifts, first of all, before we start? Introduction. What type of gifts do we give?
Zionist and
Very good. Oleg, we give food. B'Shleach Manas should be a food that is ready to eat. What? Ready to eat. I'm saying now, are you able to give your friend a gift in there? Is that part of? Let's say you give your friend a radio or a radio. I'm too old. Let's say iPod. Does that count from B'Shleach Manas to give your friend an iPod? A cup. Is the cup part of the? So this is the idea. We're going to have to dissect. What is the reason of B'Shleach Manas? I'll tell you what the Ramah says. I have another question. Let's say you go to your friend and you bring him B'Shleach Manas and you say, here, I give to you B'Shleach Manas. I've prepared a long time. Here, JR, here's the B'Shleach Manas. And JR says, no thanks, I have too much stuff already. I'm full.
I'd never say that.
I don't need... Not a good guy. I don't need your B'Shleach Manas. Let's say he says, I have too much stuff. I'm overloaded. Thanks for the thought. I'm moichel the B'Shleach Manas. I'm moichel. Don't give it to the next guy. I know you have to give to someone else. So you say, okay, I'll take it home, and you're going to give it to the next guy, and you end up you don't give any more B'Shleach Manas that day. You give one to your friend, and one you're about to give to JR. He was moichel. He said, moichel, I forgive you.
Is that permitted?
So that's my question. Are you allowed to be moichel B'Shleach Manas? Could you just say, I don't need it, keep it? Does that count for B'Shleach Manas?
Why do we say I have enough to give to somebody else who needs more than me?
Right. Or that would also be the case. So you're being moichel. You're saying I forgive. Yeah?
Well, the one doing the giving, he should get the mitzvah, and the guy who didn't accept it...
But the guy who accepts it either way, what is the guy who accepting it? Does he get a mitzvah for accepting it? The mitzvah is for the one who gives it. The givers want us to give. So either way, we're only talking about the giver. Now the giver, he was ready to give it. He went to his friend, he said, here's my B'Shleach Manas. His friend said, no thank you. I have too much stuff. I'm on a diet. You brought me chocolate cake. I don't need that. So he was moichel. So he didn't get his mitzvah. So what happened? What?
But if you were putting on tefillin and there's no you didn't know there's no scroll inside, so there's a scarf for the idea, but you still didn't. Didn't get the scarf for the actual.
You get scarf for the want, for the thought.
Right. So,
but you don't get. But it's not the mitzvah. You don't get a mitzvah. If you put on tefillin, you don't have a kosher scrolls inside. That's not a mitzvah.
So if you give Shlach Manos to somebody and they don't take it, so you haven't given it to them.
So you haven't given it to them. So let's see the Shulchan Aruch, and the Shulchan Aruch is a stunning piece. You wouldn't believe what the Ramah said. We go after the Ramah. So the Shulchan Aruch says, first of all, Chayiv l'shloyach, you are obligated to send lechaveira. If you see on the top, you're obligated to send to your friend shtei manos. You have to send to your friend 2 portions of food, basar, either meat, or shnei minei oichlin, or 2 types of food. Here we're saying specifically it has to be a food. You cannot send your iPod to him that is not good. And we're going to see the reason in a few minutes. No, that's on the side. That's the later day commentaries. And the reason is because it says Mishloyach Manos. Mana is a portion of food. Ishlari Eyu, a man to his friend. And the Gemara says, how many portions do you have to send? So it's Shtei Manos Leish Echad. Your whole obligation is to one person to give two portions. Let's say a drink and a piece of meat. Right? Get a good piece of meat and you're set. To what person? I'll accept it. Okay, you got to know who you're sending to. 2 pieces to one person, and you're set to go. Then he says further, says the Shulchan Aruch, if you do a lot, you give a lot of mishleach manas to a lot of people, l're'ayim, to many friends, meshubach, that is praiseworthy. V'mein loy, let's say you don't have any, you already, they just stalked your house, all your kids, they wiped you out the day before Purim, so you don't have anything left. So what you do is you make a switch with your friend. You go to your good friend, Yehuda Leib, aka JR, you say, I'll make you a deal. I'll give you my 2 fruits, I have a piece of steak, or I have 2 fruits and you give me your steak. And your whatever you switch, you can make a switch, and that is good for Mishleach Manas. That's an option if you don't have any food.
Can you re-gift?
Could you what?
If someone gives you Mishleach,
sure. Then it's yours. Once you get it from someone else, it's yours. You could give it back now to someone else. Sure, you could reuse it, and the more you give, interesting. It's like the more you say over Yetzias Mitzrayim. Yeah, you get another mitzvah. The more you get, the more you give. So then they say, that's what he says, you send to him a little food for his meal, and with this you get the mitzvah of a B'shleach Manas Ish Lo Yeyus. Okay, now let's focus in. Good? Anyone? And so far so good. Now look at the Ramah. The Ramah, Hagah, the 3rd line from the bottom of this first source. The Ramah, who we go like, Hagah, V'yesh L'shleach Manas Bayoim. When do we send the B'shleach Manas? By day, V'loi B'layla, not by night. Midivya Rosh, this is from the Rosh Parakama de Begillah. Now, underline, V'im Shaleach Manas L'Riyehu. Let's say you send 2 portions of food to your friend, who ain't a right to the kabbalah. And he says, I don't want to accept, I'm on a diet, thank you for the thought, it's the thought that counts. Who ain't a right to the kabbalah? Or he just says, I forgive you, it's okay, I don't need it. And the word, Loy, he forgives him, he lets him go. Yotza, you have gotten a check in Shemayim for the mitzvah, the Rabbanon of Mishleach Manas. You're okay. If he says it's fine, he says he doesn't need it, you get the mitzvah of Mishleach Manas, even though he didn't take it. That's what the Ramah says. On this, look at the next source, which is right after that. Al Divrei Pri Chadash, Arachayim. So it came along the Pri Chadash, and the Pri Chadash said, what in the world, how does this work? And he quotes the Ramah, and he says, look at the words, and he says, Al Divrei Pri Chadash, Arachayim, Siman Tafrei, Tzadakesha, Pikpek al Ramah. The Pri Chadash comes along, and he argued on the Ramah, who paskin, Shem Shalach Manas Lo'eo, that if you send your friend B'Shlach Manas the Le'ava L'Kabel, and he didn't want to accept it, Ki Machal, because he forgave you, says the Pri Chadash, Le'yadaiti Minayin Le'is. How does the Ramah know this idea? If I'm Moichel, so then you get your mitzvah, but you didn't give it to him. Isn't the mitzvah to give it to him? He should have something to eat.
But you did give it to him.
But he never took it.
Well, so what? You gave it to him.
So what's the mitzvah?
The mitzvah is giving. It's not the him taking it.
It depends. What's the source? What is the reason why you give him Mishleach Manas? Why do you give him Mishleach Manas? What?
To be happy.
To make him happy. Good, better.
He's going to be hungry.
So he's not going to be hungry. Says Oleg, there is a Trumas Hadeshin. Trumas Hadeshin says the reason why we give Mishleach Manas is so we should have food for the meal. There are 3 mitzvahs that we do at Purim. We have to give money to the poor. We have to have a meal and Mishleach Manas. The reason why we give Mishleach Manas, says the Trumas Hadeshin, is so he should have money he should have food to eat for the meal.
If he's Moichel, he's obviously got food.
1 second. Hold on, Jason. Hold on. Max asking very good. But let's just speak out Oleg's point. Says the Trumas Hadeshin, the reason why I give the Mishleach Manas is in case a guy doesn't have enough food. So we want to make sure for any poor people, give everyone a good piece of steak or a nice piece of healthy salad, and then you'll get enough. No.
Nobody gets embarrassed because it's common grace.
Good. Machavin. So both of you are Machavin. Asks Max. So Max says, what about someone who's very rich? Someone's very rich. I owe you one. He's very rich, And he says, I have enough for my meal, I'm overloaded. So you have to give him Mishloach Manos according to this reason, that the whole reason is to give him food for the meal. Let's say he's rich, he has an overflowing kitchen with everything. Is there a bit of Mishloach Manos? Answers. What's his name? Ashley? Ashley. Answers Ashley. The answer is, even if you're rich, but even though there really was designed Mishloach Manos for people who are poor, who don't have any food to eat, but they had to make a takana, they had to make an enactment which said that everyone should give Mishloach Manos to everyone. They were not mechalik, they did not separate and distinguish between a poor person and a rich person. Because if they would, what's that whole your question? If they would, says Ashley, if you only give Mishloach Manos to poor people, so the poor people are going to be very, very embarrassed, right? Because who's going to get Mishloach Manos on Purim? The only ones who will get are the poor people. So no one's going to accept it. No rich person will accept it for sure, and every poor person is going to be embarrassed to accept it. So therefore, the Rabbanan who said, everyone, give to everyone Mishloach Manos, and that way no one will be embarrassed. This example, just give you an example of such an idea where the Rabbanan make enactment that no one should get embarrassed. Let's say for a chassan. Let's say I have a chassan, and the chassan, there's a chassan, Max is a chassan, and let's say the custom is that they have an offer the week before the chassan, and
Everyone should get an offer?
no. So I'll get into the good part. You just wait. So the part is that when he gets up by the meal, right after he goes up to the Torah, they have a meal, and the chassan gets up to speak, and he gives his drasha, he gives his speech. He's supposed to give a good shtickle Torah. Supposed to take out the Gemara and a lot of Gemaras, and he's supposed to, give a good piece of Torah for everyone to hear, and that's the idea. The problem is, will be by someone who's a chassan who's not so learned, right? Max, not a problem. Max, he rips me apart every time we have any share. So, but let's say you have a chassan who doesn't know how to say such a good piece of Torah, and he's going to start asking, and people will just start answering him, and that will be the end of the drasha. So from here came the custom that when the chassan gets up, they start to sing. They just start singing. They sing him down. He starts again, they sing him down. That is the custom. And I once went to a Afruf, and they didn't know it was a Baal Tshuva, new shul that just opened up. They didn't have a minhag, they didn't have any customs, and the chassan got up. So they let him speak. He was going on for 10 minutes. I started singing right there. They didn't know. On the spot. They looked at me. Why are you singing? There were carrots. No honor for the man. He's a chassan. He's a king. Then they started again. I started again. You have to know the reason why. Yeah, you
been back to that show.
So they don't let me back.
I've been
So the reason why we sing is because we don't want to embarrass a chassan who doesn't know how to say a good piece of Torah. So therefore they sing by everyone. Even if you're going to have Oleg is going to be married soon. He's going to be finding a special kala, and he's going to get up for the drasha. He'll say for 2 hours. So they'll sing for that because it's too long. But even still, we're going to start singing after 30 seconds because we don't want to embarrass even the person who knows because of the person who doesn't know. Therefore, they made a takana. It's a custom that we sing by everyone by the offer. This is the idea, not to embarrass anyone. So therefore, going back to Mishloach Manos, we also now.
What about at the wedding? They let the husband speak.
Where? Depends where. I don't know where.
Even at the wedding, the board speaks.
They speak just to say thank you. If depends. If his mother's there, he has to speak and say thank you. But usually they don't.
Maybe at weddings. At the weddings I've been to, they let the husband
speak. Okay, you got to start singing. Okay. So now let's go back.
How long can you sing 12 lahados?
So back to Mishloach Manos. So therefore, by Mishloach Manos, says the Trumas Suggestion, the reason why we give Mishloach Manos is so every poor person, or anyone who doesn't have enough food to eat, will have his meal. You'll send them 2 portions of edible food. That's what the Trumas Suggestion says. And even a poor person, we don't want to embarrass the poor people, so therefore we don't make it exclusive for poor people. And a rich person should not say, I'm Michael, you should give it to him anyway. Now there's another reason. That's the first reason. That's the Trumas Suggestion. Comes along the Manas Halevi, and he was a great man. He made up our famous song that we sing every Friday night. What's the famous song we sing every Friday night? L'chadodi. you go, Chazan, Lechataydi, and he was Reb Shlomo Alkabetz, that's his name. Oh, good. And he wrote the Sefer called Manos Halevi, and he came along and argued with the Trumas Deshet. He said, I hold that the reason is, as Max said, the reason why we give Mishloach Manos is to be Marbe Reus. Marbe is to increase, Reus is friendship. We want to be Marbe Reus, we want to make more friends, and that's the reason why we give Mishloach Manos. Because when you give your friend, or your not so friendly neighbor, you give him a piece of cake and you give him some drink, so your Marbe Reus, you increase the friendship. And therefore he says that's the idea of Mishloach Manos. If you look, we'll read it inside. 5 lines from the bottom where it's underlined. Ach b'sefer Manos Halevi. You see the underline, Manos Halevi, 5 lines from the bottom. This Sefer, Manos Halevi, on Megillah Esther, Kosav, he writes, the reason why we give Mishloach Manos is to increase the peace and the reis and the friendship. Hepa, and this is the opposite of Margalisa Shel Hatzar, the goyrel, the portion and the lot that the tsar. Who was the tsar? Who was the one who wanted to do us a lot of harm? That was Haman. Haman wanted to do us harm. And what did he say? He said, Yeshnoi Am Echad. There is one nation, Mifuzar Umifurad. There's one nation that's very spread out, and they're separated, and they're not together. They're Mifuzar and Mifurad. They're separated. And therefore that was the type of statement that he wanted to incur the wrath of Hashem on the Yidden, that we weren't together all in peace. So he said, Yeshnai Am Echad Mifuzar Umifurad. B'machlokas. And he points out, he adds in this word. You'll see this word in the Megillah, Yeshnai Am Echad, and he says, Mifurad b'machlokas, said Haman. Lachein. Therefore the Rabbanan came along nowadays and they said, Tiknu. And they made an enactment, Mishloach Manos Ish L'Ri'eyu, that you should send Manos to your friend, and you should be marberate, you should increase friendship. Yes.
What if a person is pretty poor himself, and he doesn't have that much money to put food on the table? He'd be putting himself out somehow to find a way to give these things to others?
You should give 2 things to one person. You could do these mini ones, there's all types of themes. Maybe do a mini theme. Maybe, I don't know, you have to check out if this works. A jelly bean and, Right. Right, that's for sure, you could. But all you have to give is one person, 2 things.
Why is it? Sorry, I was going to say, why does it have to be 2 different brachas? I mean, why not just give a 2 shehakol?
Okay, this is already be'iyun. I knew you were going to get deep. We have to just we're going to look into this. We have to first keep it on one level. This is already the in-depth share. We're going to go into this maybe later if we have time. I hear it's a good question. If he's asking if it could be 2 different brachas, that could be a good question. We'll have to think about that. Why it has to be 2 different brachas, or if it has to. We'll have to check that out.
So based on this last source, that would make sense then that it would be better to give lots of little rather than giving one giant gift basket to someone.
So Max is saying we're going to try to find some nafkaminas between these 2 reasons. He's asking, is it better to give a lot of little Mishloach Manos to, let's say, 10, 15 friends, or not so friends, or one big, nice steak with a good bottle of whiskey, a good bottle of wine, to one person. Either way, you're going to get your mitzvah Mishloach Manos.
No, I already signed that.
So what's better to give? What's better to give? A good piece of steak with a bottle of wine, or let's say 10 boxes of jelly beans with 10 cookies to your friends. That could be, according to this Trumas Hadesha, well, maybe it's better to give to 10 people. But for sure, according to the Manos Halevi, that you want to be Marbe Reus. Marbe Reus would be better. You give to 10 people, give to 15. And the question would be actually, let's say you could give 10 jelly beans. With 10 little cookies to 10 people. Or you could give 2 hamburgers and 2 bottles of Coke to 2 friends. But they don't have so much food. That would be a good difference. If you're going, you should give them a Suda, you should give them a good meal, like the Trumas Hadesha. You do, right. Yeah, good. That's why you'll give that. So if the reason is to give a good meal, so you give a good hamburger to someone who doesn't have food to eat, that's the Trumas Hadesha.
You give it to only to a Jew, or
only to a Jew, because it says Mishloach Manos Ish Lire'ehu, to his friend. So because the mitzvah is only to give it ish lire'ehu, and it corresponds to the problem. The problem was Haman said, yes, there is one nation which is mifuzar, they're spread out, and they're b'machloikes, says the Chatam Sefer. They were arguing, they weren't together. So the point of the Mishloach Manos, according to the Manos Halevi, is everyone should come together. There should be shalom and reus, that peace and friendship, and therefore it's only to Jews and not to a goy.
But even with those two in mind, the reus and the friendship and that you should eat and have, where do we get the idea then that you can say in lieu of shalach manas, I will give to charity? And this is a big thing here now.
What?
Everybody has these cards, and you get a card.
Yeah.
The card says, I have given to charity in your name in lieu of shalach manas, I've given to charity in your name.
Does this work? We have a question.
Do that.
We have a question on the floor.
Where's the reus?
We have a question.
Where's the first one? Maybe the reus.
Where's the Mishloach Manos?
And where's the Mishloach Manos?
But is the money that you gave the charity used to buy Mishloach Manos for?
No.
I don't know about this. I don't know about this. We have to ask Rabbi Rothman about such a question. I don't know if that works.
Every from school in the city has these cards.
What do the cards say? As far as I know,
they say in lieu of shalach manas.
That's a big chiddush. That's a big new thing. As far as I knew, that they made a list.
You all know about this, right?
Yeah.
You're not but you should all ask Rabbi Rod.
Rabbi Rod, we have a question on the floor. If you could give certain schools, he said that they send you a note instead of the Mishloach Manos, we're giving money to charity.
You know, these cards say in lieu of shalach manas.
Only that doesn't fulfill the mitzvah. What that does is that people overdo it. You give 100 shalach manas. So rather than wasting money to give 100 shalach manas, you fulfill the mitzvah by sending the two, and then you give the rest of the tzedakah by buying these cards, and then you give the people the card.
Oh, excellent.
But you have to actually fulfill the mitzvah.
Excellent.
There's an optimization formula.
So here you go.
Basically, you've got to balance the number of shalots against how much tzedakah you give. How do you maximize that?
And now you want to know how to weigh out. How much should you give to Matanos Levyonim? We have two mitzvahs. Matanos Levyonim, give to two poor people a meal's worth of money. That's Matanos Levyonim. That's the tzedakah. And then there's Mishloach Manos, to give 2 portions of food to one person. So the Rambam says it's better to give more money to Matanas Levyonim, to poor people, than to give Mishloach Manos. That means you should give more money to poor people than to Mishloach Manos. It's a hard thing to fulfill, especially when you have a lot of friends and you know you have like 15 friends. You want to give 15 people a nice pie and
That's why the cards make so much sense. In a way, you give to all of your important people. You give the shalach manas, and then the rest you're giving the tzedakah to the various agencies. Lieu of shalach manas.
Right.
You're saying, I still recognize you. I'm still your friend.
It's very
right.
Good. Very good. Very good. But you have to bear this in mind. The person has to Mishloach Manos and Matanas Levyonim should be a little more. Yes.
So I have a question on a different topic. If we say
that's that class over there.
We finished that.
Yeah.
So, but I just want to get this question out there before the class ends. If we say, as we did at the beginning, that someone can say, "Thank you for the Mishloach Manos, but I have enough. No, thank you." And the whole idea behind Mishloach Manos is to build friendship. There's going to be some hard feelings, no matter how gently you say to someone, "No, thank you." That person's still going to feel bad. He rejected my Mishloach Manos.
Yeah, but what about you give me a jelly bean and a little cup of water?
What are you rejecting?
Usually, I'll tell you what.
You're a cheapskate.
So now you bring up a good point. Let's go back now and let's plug this into the Ramah. The Ramah said, if I come over to you and I bring you a jelly bean and and a little bit of a little candy bar, and you say no, thank you. So the Ramah said you yaitza. Or let's make a better case. You gave him a nice piece of cake and what do you like? A steak, a cake and a steak. And J.R. says, no thanks. This is not flavored with barbecue sauce. I'm not going to take this steak. And he's mindful. So the Ramah said you're yaitza. The Pri Chadash said, where is this? Where do you get such halacha from? You didn't give it to him. So it appears that this halacha is based on the two reasons of Mishloach Manos. If you say that the reason is to be marber reyos, to increase friendship, so JR will see, I brought him a good piece of meat without barbecue sauce, but I didn't know he likes barbecue sauce. I brought you a piece of meat, I brought you a piece of cake, so at least I did marbareus. I was marbareus. I did increase the friendship. JR will look at it and he'll look at me in a different light. And I have news for you. Hold that question, remember, 1 second. I have news for you. If you ever want to increase friendship, and if you ever see someone who you're not so friendly with, who you don't know him so good and he doesn't know you so good, the best idea how to be marbareus is give him something. You give him a shleich manas, or you buy him an aliyah, and you'll see, you're going to start to be friends with him out of nowhere. And therefore, that's what comes out. The idea is a nafkamina, right? This is a nafkamina. If the reason is to be marbareus, to increase friendship, so therefore, if you're Michael, right, I want to say that if you're Michael, everyone will have an increased amount of friendship with that person, even if they don't accept it, right? Because assuming you put yourself out, you tried, you looked and tried to bring it to his house, and you try to see what he likes, hopefully, so at least it will be a marbareus that he'll increase the friendship, because he sees that you tried. You went out for him and you spent money for him, that will increase the friendship, even if he doesn't accept it. That is what the Ramah holds, according to this Manas HaLevi. The Pri Chadash seems to say, no, you're not Yotzei, unless he actually accepts it, because he seems to say, like the other reason, that you have to give him food for the meal. And if you give him food, but he doesn't accept it, so you just took away the whole enactment. The whole enactment was that we should give to rich people and poor people alike, because they should have money for their meal, they should have food for their meal. And therefore, if you say, I'm not accepting, so then you're trying to disengage the whole takana, because the whole takana is you should give to everyone, poor and rich alike. And therefore, you have no right to be Michael. And if you're Michael, then you have not done the mitzvah of Bishleich Manas.
I think I understand that the guy should accept. That I understand. But in many cases, we have mitzvahs that we do where if you fulfilled the intent, if your intention was fulfilled, you can say that you've done the mitzvah. So what I don't understand is why, if the guy says for whatever his reasons, no thank you, why would you say that you haven't really done the mitzvah? Because if your intent was clearly to give the person the Shalach Manas to fulfill the mitzvah, you had that in mind, that was your intent. But unknown to you, the guy says no, haven't you really...
Well, it depends. Which mitzvah do you find that you're Yotzei? Certain mitzvahs, if you just have intent, it's not enough. If you intend to put on tefillin, but you're not able to, right? You're not going to get a mitzvah. So, therefore, right?
Yeah, but there are mitzvahs that if you have the intent and for some reason it doesn't work out,
then you get a mitzvah?
Is that true?
I don't think if you might get work. He got the mitzvah of the Akedah was V'ha'aleu, bring him up on the mountain. He brought him up on the mountain. So therefore you have to check that out on every mitzvah. The intention alone will not probably do the mitzvah. So here it depends on the reason of the mitzvah. If the mitzvah is, yes.
If we were to see the original obligation is to increase friendship, aka to give to Jews, you must give it to your friend, and to increase friendship, it's not about if I were to come to you and give you a present and you were to turn it down, you would still in some sense feel obligated to me. You would still feel some sort of gratitude,
right,
even if you were to turn it down. Right. And I can think of good situations where you turn it down, there are not a lot of Jews in the community, and you know there's some poor people that are going to go without, and you accept.
Right.
So the point I'm making here is, when we consider about the obligation of giving and receiving, I mean, you can also turn things down in good spirits, but the idea is that you get the community together in a series of obligations, and that's what's important.
But he said though that you could turn around and take that food that you got and you could give it.
So either way, if you're Michael, so if you're Michael, then you get the mitzvah because you have increased friendship. On the other hand,
what he was trying to say was when you get turned down, you try and give something, that person's decreased your friendship.
Oh, it depends how you turn it down. If you say, I have too much stuff, I'm happy, thank you for giving it to me, and give it to someone else instead because I know you have a lot of people on your list and you only have a limited amount of Mishleach Manas, then you have increased friendship. And that could be a lot of cases you ever try to give anything to anyone, you'll increase the friendship. On the other hand, if the reason is the meal, then you would not be Yotzei. That seems to be the machlekes. Yes.
My question is, the Ramah says that we could increase friendship because Haman did this and this and this and that. At the end of the Megillah, it talks about the people of the Jews actually doing this, selling each other. So isn't that really the source?
But it's the reason. He's saying the reason. The reason is that, and let's go go through a few more differences between these two reasons. So we have now, could you be Michael? We have another nafkamina would be, so that's why you have to give him food. According to everyone, you have to give him food. Okay, now let's go through an interesting question here. Let's say you send him a raw piece of meat. A raw piece of meat, and you send it to him right before Shkia. It's getting dark. 5:45 is Shkia. You send him at 5:40 a good piece of chicken breast, raw chicken. And you send the barbecue sauce in the bottle. Do you get your mitzvah mishleach manas? So this would depend on the two reasons. If the reason is to send him a meal, to give him something for a suda, like the Trubas session, so you didn't send him a meal, he's not going to be able to cook it up it's going to take over an hour, right? And to put on the barbecue sauce.
But you can start a meal and, as long as he eats something, you can start cooking.
But it's going to be Purim's going to be over in a half hour. Purim's going to be over.
But if the Suda continues, it's still a Purim Suda even after.
So this gets into the question: how long could you stretch this Purim Suda? When do you have to eat in order to get your check for the mitzvah of eating your meal by day? It should be by day. You should eat before it gets dark. So that would be the reason. But if the reason is to increase friendship, so even if you send them a whole big raw chicken with a bottle of barbecue sauce and a few minutes before it gets dark, but you have increased the friendship. And now you have acquired a friend. That is one difference between the two. And let's go to another difference. What about if I just want to ask, who should you send to now? Should you send to your best friend, Mishleach Manas? Or should you send to your friend who you don't really sit next to him so much every day?
But we already determined everything goes to jail.
So this is the question. Who is the best person to look to when you're looking for a good candidate? When you have to make your list, you can get your list, see who you're going to write your Mishleach Manas, who you're going to put down your address of Mishleach Manas. Who should you write on your list? All your best friends and all the people sit next to you in shul.
Everyone you want to increase friendship with.
Or everyone you want to increase friendship with. Everyone who you don't sit so next to. You don't say good Shabbos to him. Or you don't want to say good Shabbos to him. Those maybe are the people you should give Mishleach Manas. That would be the difference between the two reasons. According to the Manas Halevi, you have to give to the one who you don't like so much because you have to increase friendship. You have to go to him. According to Trumas Hadeshin, it's for everyone, whoever. It should be for everyone alike. It doesn't matter him or him. So that would be another difference.
Did you answer though Chaim's question though about like if the actual source is from the end of the Megillah where they all shared gifts, right? Wasn't that more because they're to give thanks because that their lives were saved?
I'm not sure. So why did they send gifts to each other? They sent gifts to each other. That was the story what they did, and it could be very well that they were close together at that point in the Megillah. It could be the friendships were together and they sent each other gifts. It could be very good, and that is what we do today. We also want to increase friendship today.
Didn't Mordecai though enact that? He must have had a reason.
And from there they enacted it for every generation from there on. Yes, excellent. Okay, so let's go to another nafkamina, another difference between the two. What about bracha? Do you make a bracha on Mishleach Manas? So we don't make any bracha on Mishleach Manas. Why not? It's a mitzvah d'Rabbanan. We make a bracha on Mikra Megillah.
When you give it, not when you
give it.
Okay.
Why don't you make it when you come over to your friend and you have an expensive steak and you bring it to him? Why don't you make a bracha on Mishleach Manas?
Because if you do it only just to get the mitzvah, then you're not increasing friendship. And you're just using them as like a lulav.
But it's a mitzvah. You're giving them a Mishleach Manas.
Yeah, but you're basically saying that the only reason I'm doing this is because it's a mitzvah, not because I care about you.
Wow.
Tzedakah is also a mitzvah.
Why do you give a bracha? That's another question. Why do you make a bracha every time you give tzedakah? So this is a big question. So the Rashba already asked this, and the Rashba seems to answer that the answer is he might say no. So you can make a bracha, say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, Al mitzvah tzedakah, and Jerry's going to say no way. So you say I have enough. So what happens to your bracha? Your bracha will be in vain. It will be a bracha of Atala. For nothing. So therefore the Rashba says, therefore we don't make a bracha on tzedakah, because he might refuse. So the same thing would be on Mishleach Manas, because he might refuse you, and he might say no. But my question will be, what about according to the Ramah? According to Ramah, who says that he could say,
to get the check?
No, you get the check anyway. So why do we make a bracha on Mishleach Manas? This is a question that we have to think about a little bit. Interestingly, certain mitzvahs we do say the bracha afterwards, like Natil Shadayim, but there's a problem because our hands are not clean, and therefore we need to say the bracha. But as long as it's still in the drying process, before we dry, the mitzvah is still stretching on.
Yeah, the idea is that the one end of the mitzvah you get the merit, you get the start for the action, but the bracha is the person who eats the food makes the bracha on the food. So there's dual bracha. You get the start for the action, and then you increase someone else's bracha because they get to make blessings.
But why don't you make a bracha?
The question is, if you can make a bracha on the mitzvah b'shleich manos.
It's not derech eretz to make a bracha while you're doing sukkah.
That's what I would say.
That's interesting thought.
You're basically just saying, like, the only reason I'm doing this
That's interesting.
You're not making friends, it's only because I want to make a better connection upstairs.
That's interesting. And what would be, I want to know another thing. Sometimes you go to a guy's house and you knock on his door for giving him b'shleich manos, and there's no one home. So what some people do is they leave it by the door. Is that okay to leave it by the door? So that, right? And another question is if you don't have your name, and you don't have your name written on it. Some people, they thought his friend would be home. They came with a whole big b'shleich manos, and there was no name written on it. So what do you do? Could you leave it by the door? So that would depend on the two reasons. That would be a beautiful difference between the two reasons. If the reason is to give him a good meal, so now you're going to give him a good meal. And if he's poor, then it will be a better meal. And he won't even know who gave it to him, so he won't even be embarrassed. Even in the least, that's the highest form of tzedakah. So therefore, if he doesn't know who gave it to him, you'll still get the mitzvah of b'shleich manos, according to that view. But according to the view that the mitzvah is laharbeiz reyos, to increase friendship, that will help the friendship because he doesn't know who gave it to him. So therefore, he can't.
Maybe it increases his friendship with everybody though, because he doesn't know who gave. He's just
he'll be scared. So to everyone, he'll be more happy. Maybe. So that would be another difference. But the person should make sure that they should write their name down before they go out to give b'shleich manos. Therefore, if the guy's not home, they could just leave it by the door.
What about some schools, Matt, again with the schools, so just these practices, right?
Yeah.
There's certain schools like and actually in the synagogue too, you can add your name to the list, and you might get, people add their names to the list, and on Purim, you get a big shalach manos, and it's a big thing. And there's a list, and these are all the people who gave in your name, and they're all listed there.
Right.
You see that?
So that would be marba reyos. So there you get the marba reyos.
That's a marba reyos.
Right.
What if you give it, but you give it in a very bad way, like it's not so nice food, it's wrapped poorly, and like you throw it at a person.
So there you would miss out the whole reason of the.
But if it's just for the food, then that's food.
That's interesting.
If it's for the friendship.
That's interesting. If you give it to him, that could be a difference. And Reb Scheinberg speaks out this nafkamina that Max is saying. Reb Scheinberg says, if you give it to him and he feels that maybe you're doing it, you know that he's allergic to peanuts, and you give him peanut butter pie.
That's definitely.
Reb Scheinberg says Reb Scheinberg wants to go out so far to say that you wouldn't get a mitzvah because the whole purpose of b'shleich manos is to be marba reyos, is to increase the friendship. And here he's not going to be happy, so therefore you wouldn't get the mitzvah.
No, but if it's like the Ramah for just food, you could give him food, but not in a nice way.
Right. That could be a difference between them.
Fulfill the Ramah's one, but you wouldn't fulfill.
Right. That could be a good difference. Yes. So these are the differences, and we have to keep this in mind when we're deciding who to send b'shleich manos to, a poor person or a rich person. It would be better to give to a poor person. That would also be good because according to the reason of the Trumas Hadeshin, it's better to give to a poor person, but that's only on two people who are equal in terms of friendship. If someone is less friends with you, it would be better to give to the person a friendship. That would be the first priority in deciding who to give to. As well as what would be if you give to a shaita. Let's say you give it to a fool. Someone doesn't have all their senses with them. Could you give such a person b'shleich manos? This is it. What? Why?
And he fulfills both of them. They need a meal and it increases the friendship.
So
not being able to return friendship though.
Why not?
What is it?
No das for friendship.
This is an interesting question for a shaita. So someone who's someone like that, I'll tell you what they ask about this.
The world, it's already part of the world. It's not a kavod anymore, so therefore you can eat from that, you can partake. So you can assume.
Yeah, maybe because a shaita, maybe he doesn't have a mitzvah. Shaita is not mechuyev in any mitzvah. Shaita is part from all mitzvahs because he doesn't have das, doesn't have any knowledge. So therefore he doesn't have a mitzvah of making a Purim Suda. Excellent. So he doesn't have a mitzvah to make Purim Suda. So I have no mitzvah to send him a b'shleich manos.
He's in a permanent
Shkaya.